Hello, beautiful souls, and hello to my dear, dear friend and brother, Mario. It's a beautiful day, and the two of us are coming to you, having journeyed back from a very special land, from Egypt, and thought we would have a little bit of a sharing with you about that experience.
Yeah, what a trip.
Welcome, Mario.
Thank you. Thank you.
So the big thing that we maybe wanted to share is sometimes when we go away to special lands, we're doing an experience inside. We're reconnecting and remembering another level of ourselves that maybe we haven't known before, maybe that we have been searching for and trying to connect. And sometimes going to lands that hold a lot of sacredness or history, where a lot of ceremonies and faith have been held for thousands of years. And that kind of feel in the land supports us to do our journey. And so we thought we would share a little bit about what it was like to make those connections, with the hope that it supports each of you watching this to make your own connection without traveling to a land, that you're almost doing it vicariously through our sharing. What do you think of that, Mario?
Yeah, what you've just said now is really such a perfect way to describe what I experienced. I I think, to your point, you travel to these when if you're lucky enough to travel to these lands, and we were blessed to be able to go to such a special place, Egypt. But in every trip that I've done, in our travels or in separate travels, or even at home, I'm thinking of it like whatever land we're on is almost like a mirror. It's giving us a reflection. Maybe when we're at home and it's a place we're very comfortable with, and you go for a walk, that little walk gives you a little glimpse, just a little reflection about, oh, think about this. And as you're on your walk, maybe something comes to you, and you're able to grow with that. Sometimes you go on a trip to visit family, and then the mirror opens slightly more, and you might get another lesson. Sometimes, like we've done before, you go to Peru, and that the mirror really opens up, and you're really getting to know Pachamama. You're really getting to know the way of life down there, and you see the reflection, and you learn about yourself every single time. Now, when you go to Egypt, at least in my experience, I feel like that mirror opens up to a much more. It's almost like it offers you a lifetime, a mirror of your lifetime, a mirror of our civilization. We get to look at ourselves in relation to thousands of years ago, and I just felt absolutely fascinated every minute we were there, and I got to learn so much about myself, even though I was in such a foreign land. It felt like home.
It's really interesting, and I want to share with all of you that are watching this, is, Mario, you keep talking about a mirror. And I think it's how we take it. So we can take experiences that happen, whether we're at home or we're traveling somewhere, and the experiences that happen as something outside of us. And hey, wasn't that cool that happened? Wasn't it cool that we got to go into the King's Chamber and the Queen's Chamber and the Great Pyramid? But it's really, and yes, that was cool, but it's really about what was happening inside as we were journeying. What were our thoughts? What were our feelings? So I can tell you, for example, going into the King's Chamber and the journey to get there, I had some challenges with my thoughts. I'm 6'4", and it's a very narrow opening. Plus, I was ensuring that everyone we were walking with was doing okay. And there were spots where I really had to question how I was going to fit through to try and get there. And I had to I went, okay, that's a mirror where I've got some doubt and some concern here. Let me come back into a place of, I've been called to this place and the space was made open. Let me fall into trust and into faith more and out of my mind. So I think that's important to share with those of you watching, is it's not about outside of us. It's about inside and how we are interpreting or perceiving. And that's the most important piece of information, because that's your mirror, is how you're interpreting and perceiving,
Exactly.
because that's what gives you the juice to work with yourself. And that's the journey. When people talk about doing a journey inside, or a spiritual journey, it's not about where they go. It's about what's happening inside of them, what's opening, what's releasing, what's being remembered, what's being forgotten.
And if I can add, journeying we might do in a ceremony, I also have to include, because it's calling me to say it, the plant ceremonies or ayahuasca ceremonies. These are similar. Let's keep using that mirror analogy. It's all happening inside, but the experience that we've put ourselves in is creating we get to bounce off of the images or the sounds, whether they be in a plant ceremony, whether they be just journeying on your own, or whether they be visiting a distant land. You're right. It's all about what's happening inside, but it's like having that perspective to bounce off of, to be able to learn about yourself.
Right. And that, because you talked about plant medicines, often the most significant thing, other than participating in the ceremony itself, is your understanding, your integration, your interpretation of it afterwards, because we can get caught in just the experience or the images, but we really want to go, what does it mean for yourself? So I want to invite our viewers, is every time that you maybe go out for a walk, or maybe you're with family, and notice what you're experiencing inside. What are your feelings? What are your thoughts? How do you feel you're showing up or not showing up? Like, get curious and ask some of the questions, because when you ask the questions or you have the awareness, that's when you can make some of the shifts. So my little story about the pyramid is, when I became aware of what my mind was doing, I just stood and took some deep breaths with someone else who was actually struggling. They didn't want to continue. And I said, no, we're just going to step to the side and let people move past us. And we're just going to breathe. But it allowed me to breathe and reset to having that absolute faith that I was meant to be there and I was going to get there.
It's exactly what I was going to add, just to go back to your mentioning the word faith. I think a lot of us in our lives, we say we have faith. We, it's just a way of life. We say, yeah, we have faith. I have faith in whatever it is that you have faith in, whatever you call it, however you imagine it. But experiences like what we lived, they really ask you to put that to the test. So
Right.
when you're in a situation where I remember walking with you, and I know your height would have made that the going through that space would have made it very difficult. It wasn't easy for me. I can't imagine what it was for you or for some of the other people in the group with their maybe physical challenges that they had. That's when you say, wait a sec, I'm supposed to be here. That's when you say, oh, but the universe is protecting me. I have faith that the universe protects me everywhere I go. So I can't just drop that whenever something challenges me. It's like, well, do you have faith or don't you have faith?
Right. Absolutely.
And we do. And these beautiful moments affirm. This was a very life affirming trip, as most are, but of course, Egypt even more so. The plant medicine trips are life affirming. And then the more you do all of this, from the walk in the park or a walk around your block to a trip to Egypt or a trip to Peru to hang out with the shamans and work with the plant medicines, what starts happening is you start making all of the connections. So many things I learned with Aya that were actually Egypt
Right.
years ago. So you're like, wait a sec, but I was in Peru in 2018 and I saw these things that I saw a room that was the king's chamber. How could I have known back then? Or I saw architecture that I had never seen before. And then we're talking almost 10 years later. I'm filming when we're just arriving in Cairo, and I'm filming all of the streets and the buildings, and I'm like, wait a sec, I've seen this before. So it helps give you perspective. It helps guide you. As we go through the life, we're starting to see like, oh, there are connections. There are things that really kind of are harder to explain. Like, what does Haya in 2018 have to do with Cairo in 2026? And then your mind starts getting blown, and you're like, oh, this is all, we're all connected. This is all one beautiful thing. And we get to learn about our souls through this life that we're going through. And then the other beautiful thing you're talking about is integration. Just for us, even here to have this conversation is a bit of an integration for me. I get to think through what was really so hard to put into words when we got back.
Right. And you raised something that, I remember a time, so we had the opportunity near the end of our journey to visit this stunningly beautiful, but beyond words. It wasn't just the beauty to the eyes, it was the beauty to the soul mosque. And we were in the outer courts of the mosque first before going inside. And you yourself had an experience. And I want you to share that experience, but I'm just going to kind of preempt it first, is that when we have journeyed to ourselves and you just feel present in your own being, in your own skin. Because many of the times we don't. We're trying to achieve something. We're trying to get somewhere else. But if we're just in that moment and just there, the world around us starts to recognize and see us. Whereas sometimes we're trying so hard to be recognized and so hard to be seen. All we have to do is just be here. And so you had an experience where your outside world recognized you because you were in the process of doing some filming. And then I'm going to let you tell the rest of your experience from your perspective.
Well, thank you for letting me share this story, because I really, it got to the bottom of my heart, filled my soul. I had the most beautiful experience, but it's kind of comical. And that's what I love about it too. I can share this story that it was like a cartoon. And we were in the beautiful mosque, stunning. Everywhere you looked was beauty, was a celebration of life. And what I really loved, what we all really loved, was the connection that the dogs and the cats were having with everybody visiting the land, but also the people that lived there. They all get along quite well. It was such a beautiful thing to see, because we have pets at home, or we have pets that are close to us that we already have that connection with, and it's nice to see it there. And so there we are. And it's the funny thing, like, you could be at the pyramids of Giza and then everybody's taking a picture of a cat or a dog that's sleeping, because it just captures our heart. So it could be anything in the background, like, the Eiffel Tower, the pyramids, and you're like, oh, look at these cats, look at these dogs. That's what happened to me in the mosque. I was there with all of you. And another interesting thing that happened is that was maybe the last day we were really going around Cairo. And I wanted to wear a beautiful poncho that Don Jorge Luis gave me years ago from Titicaca. It's a beautiful poncho that I own, and I packed it with me because I thought I'm the guy that likes to connect the dots. So let's connect some dots between Peru and Egypt, even if it's in some sort of symbolic way, but let's do it. And it turns out it was such beautiful weather. I never had a chance to wear the poncho. until the last day. So fast forward to the mosque. I'm wearing a poncho. I'm wearing this beautiful headscarf that the guys in Egypt are just masters of tying it. They would tie it for me on my head, and all of a sudden I look like, I don't even know what I look like, but I'm going with it. This is a beautiful moment. I'm in the square with you guys, and I start, of course, taking pictures of cats because they just crack me up. So I squat down. I've got my poncho, my headscarf. I'm trying to see which cat is gonna be the guy this time to film or to take a picture of. And then I see one starts walking right at me. And I'm like, oh, beautiful. I get to film, and really down low, it's from the cat's perspective. I'm filming him, and then he just kind of walks right past me. And I'm like, oh, beautiful. That'll be a nice little, maybe an Instagram video or something we can do with. And then I'm still, if I squat down at this point in my life, I'm going to be down there for a while, taking advantage of the perspective. And then as I'm taking more pictures, I just feel the little paws on my back. And I'm like, oh, this guy loves the poncho. And I can feel his little claws. And I've had that experience before with my friends' cats here in Toronto, where if they're little guys, especially, they have fun. They'll climb on you. And I'm like, oh, I bet you this guy's going to come on my shoulder. And I'm ready for it. I'm going to take selfies. It's going to be a great, fun moment. So there I am, and I'm taking a selfie, and sure enough, his little head pokes over. And I'm like, this is awesome. And I'm really, in a way, almost trying to not, I wasn't calling over to, guys, come look at me. I was like, I'm having a very special moment. It's funny, but I want this moment to last. I want to take this guy home. I've already fallen in love. Like, whatever this cat said, give me your debit card. I would have given him my debit card, my credit card, whatever this guy wanted, he was going to get. And I'm taking these selfies, and it's so cute. And I'm also laughing at, why do I have a headscarf and a poncho on? Like, I never walk around like this. And then the headscarf, the little guy jumped on my head. He crawled, he went on the poncho, which I've done that. I've had that feeling before, but to have him actually stand on my head. And if you don't believe this story, it's okay, because I have pictures and video I'll put into this conversation so everybody can see it, because it's really next thing I know, he's quite comfortably sitting on my head. And maybe that's around the time you guys finally realized what was going on. And I'm just like, I'm squatting down. There's a cat sitting on my head. This is awesome. My trip is complete. And then you guys are like, oh, try and stand up, try and walk. And so I did as carefully as I could. More for maybe me than the cat. He was so comfortable.
Yeah,
He's
he
in my
was.
head. And then I start walking. I can feel the headscarf moving a little bit. So I'm like, oh, I don't want this guy to dig his claws into my head. I think he's fine, but it's maybe more about me. So I'm just carefully walking. I decide to walk towards the main entrance to inside, where he wasn't going to be able to go in. But I just thought, let's test, almost like, let's test this beautiful experience. I've had enough. I've done enough work with the plant medicines. I've done enough work on my own, where I realized if the moment is serving the universe, for lack of a better word, if I'm really at peace with who I've become, if my ego is nowhere in sight for that moment, the ego in the sense of, hey guys, look at me walking with a cat on my head. It wasn't about that. It was about me sharing such a beautiful moment with a little guy that had me at hello, like the Tom Cruise movie. He had me. And I was going to walk across and see how far I can take this. Not for the sake of the ego, but for the sake of how far can I take this beautiful moment that I'm recognizing is, I'm recognizing that the universe is recognizing me. I've done a lot of work.
Good.
Not everybody knows what I've worked on and for how long, except maybe you and my mom. Like, a handful of people know the amount of work that I've done, that I've chosen to do. And it just felt like the most beautiful pat on the back or pat on my head with 4 little paws. So I was enjoying it for that. It made my day. It probably made my trip. it's one of those things that I should make a t-shirt of it, because I don't think it gets much better than when a little guy like that kind of picks you out of a crowd and says, "Yeah, you're a pretty cool guy."
Absolutely. And like you said, what a recognition, and not about the ego, but just a confirmation inside. And so I would invite our people who are sharing and watching to think about times and experiences you've had, that maybe you've been at the edge of a water and you've spoken to the water and it kind of laps up and touches you. A bird crosses your path. You look down and there's a feather. Someone you didn't expect to meet crosses your path. All these, nothing in life is a coincidence. And if we take everything as part of the experience for ourselves, then we'll see that there's constant interaction and communication going on that we can take advantage of, that supports us every second of our life in this amazing experience of life that is sometimes challenging
Mhm.
and sometimes amazing and everything in between that. But we're getting constant information that we can use to support our inwards. And if we shift things in there or have acknowledgement, then it does something in the outside world.
And really, the gift is like, whether it's like my story, this beautiful moment of bliss, or whether it's your story where you're going into the king's chamber and you're not sure how. The beauty is that both stories are necessary for us to realize that we need to have that faith, that this whole life is a beautiful, beautiful journey for us to learn from. So whether you wake up one day and it doesn't feel that great, or you wake up and life is beautiful, you can learn, you can draw from each of those things, and always remember to have faith, and never forget that the universe has got our back.
So as we come to a close of our sharing, and I hope, Mario, you put on a picture of you standing with your beautiful friend that I kind of wish I'd come home with you.
Oh, I did too.
But what is not meant to be. But for those of you, as I would invite you to consider the times where you've had faith, the times where you've lost faith, the times where you haven't thought about it and it's just been there, or maybe felt more absent in a moment. And then asking yourself, how can you come forward? And really, what we're asking and suggesting is to have faith in you, that you are the universe, that every awareness you have is you're shifting something inside yourself. That is the path, that is the journey, that you're not staying stagnant. You're just being curious and questioning all the time. So I would invite you to keep doing that. And as you go forward in your day, like, think about how many minutes there are in a day. That's how many opportunities we have to look within and see what is there for us in all sorts of ways. So, my friends, we're going to bid you goodbye at this moment. Adios. And we will come to you another time with, in about a month, with a meditation or with another teaching or sharing. Mario, thank you so much. And I just want to take the moment and honor you and the work that I know that you've done, that the universe recognizes, but more important, that you recognize.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And I thank everyone that's gonna lay their eyes or their ears on this conversation. Thanks for spending the 10 minutes or so with us. Let's keep going, and we'll keep checking in on each other, and sharing stories, and know that this is a beautiful life, and to have so much faith every second, like you said. Thank you.
Adios.